Today we're going to try Bird of Paradise, and that means you have to get a lot of shoulder opening happening, and it also means that we have to work a lot on the hips. So let's go ahead and do that. And keeping in mind that hips are a big focus of this one, make sure you've got your blocks nearby and at the top of your mat, and we'll come up to the top of the mat. So take your feet about hips distance apart, and we're going to do just a few sun salutations first to warm up the hamstrings, warm up the hips, get that blood pumping a little bit, and then we'll start moving into more of the sun salutation type stuff that has more hip opening. So take your legs about hips distance apart and squeeze your legs into the midline, and then zip up your low belly, pull it in as if you're trying to put on a tight pair of pants, and then take the arms up on the inhale. And interlace your fingers and lift and stretch over to the right-hand side. So find your breath here. Breathe into the back of your rib cage and breathe into the sides of your rib cage. Squeeze your legs into the midline. And coming up on the inhale, exhale to the left-hand side. So this side stretch is going to be particularly important for the Bird of Paradise. We're going to do a couple different variations of this side stretch throughout the practice. Keep breathing, zip up the low belly, squeeze the legs into the midline. And come on up and release the arms. Do a couple big shoulder rolls, both directions. All right, let's do a couple sun salutation A's. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Inhale, stretch forward and look forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lift your chin. Lower down halfway, you can always drop those knees. Inhale, tops of the feet, push into the tops of the feet so you can get your thighs off the ground. Drop your shoulders down your back. Exhale, downward dog. And I'll walk it out a little bit. Test out the calves and Achilles tendons. Breathe deeply, relax your neck. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to the sides. Take the arms up again, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, press into your toenails. Exhale, downward dog. And again, you may want to walk it out a little bit. And look up. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up. Exhale, arms to sides. Let's do one more sun A. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step or jump back. And lower down. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. All right, grab the back of your left ankle with your right foot and press your left heel down. Again, make sure that doesn't translate to stress in the shoulders and neck. Relax the neck a little bit. And switch legs. Grab the back of the right ankle and press down. And let that one go. Look up, inhale, step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, take it up. And exhale, arms to the sides. Big toes together, heels slightly apart. Interlace the fingers, press the palms forward and sit back. Take a moment here and just get nice and stretched out through the spine. Reach your hips back, reach your heart forward. Zip up the belly. And exhale, fold forward and take a moment here. All right, so hang for a moment. And just feel all of this happening on the backs of the legs, backs of the hips. Bend the knees a little bit if you need to, if you're feeling tugging behind the knees. If you're a lot tighter, you can always have your hands up on blocks and be a little bit higher up. All right, plant the hands, step or jump back, press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges into warrior one. And then press into the outer edge of your back foot and zip up that low belly. And then drop the shoulders. So take your warrior one, look up towards your thumbs. Keep rooting down through the legs so that you can lift your spine up out of the hips. And then big exhale, take the hands down, step back, press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog, and exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up, lift your front hip points, root down through the legs, really pushing the ground with your feet so you can lift your spine up out of your hips. And big exhale. Take the hands down to the ground, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Okay, so once you're in your down dog, let's get a little bit more of a cross body stretch here. See if you can take that weight into your right hand and grab any part of your any part of your right leg with your left hand. So part of this is just that strengthening of the wrist, hand, shoulder area that we need to use in arm balances. And then you're going into a little bit more of this core as well. And you might even feel it in the hip. So big breathing. But if your wrists hurt, you can always take a little break. All right, switch sides. Go for the right hand to the left leg, anywhere up or down the leg. Pull that low belly in. All right, and then let that go. All right, before you jump forward, come down to child's pose for a moment. Stretch it out. Stretch your arms way out in front of you. Gently press down into the ground with your fingertips and lift your armpits. We're going to do a quick little thing for the wrist. Come on down all fours. You're going to claw the ground with your left hand and then take your right hand and point your fingers backward. And the heel of your right hand may not actually come to the ground, but just see what happens. If it's up a little higher, that's fine. You can also bend your elbow a little bit. We're just trying to get a little bit more stretch in that wrist. All right, switch hands. Put your right hand on the ground and turn your left fingers backward. And again, that left elbow might be a little bit bent, but just claw the ground and see what happens. All right, now we're going to sit back for just a moment, which is good for the hips. So we're going to sit back. Okay, now we're going to put the fingers down, and then you're going to put the backs of the hands on the ground. And you're not trying to force anything. Just point your fingers back towards your knees, backs of the hands on the ground. See if you can get your thumbs to the ground. And this is usually a pretty overstretched area anyway, because a lot of us are at typewriters. So it's not like we're trying to stretch it more in this direction. We just want to counter the stretch of fingers, pads of the fingers on the ground. But it should feel pretty good. Take about one more big breath here, one or two. All right, shake it out. Bring your hands forward, flip your toes over, find your downward dog. And look up. Inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Utkatasana, take the arms up and look up. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms to sides. We're gonna go a little bit faster with this next one. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. Try to pull the arms back in line with your ears. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step or jump back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges. Big inhale. And big exhale. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Big inhale as you come up. As you come down, make sure your shoulders don't dip below your elbows. So you can always drop the knees to control that. Lower down halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. 5 breaths here. Child's pose is also great. So if you know that you get wrists that got sort of mad at you when we get around to the arm balances, it's not a bad idea to take child's pose because you get this nice long stretched out back and you're taking some of that weight off the wrists so they don't get fatigued as easily for the arm balances. So keep that in mind. Take about another 2 breaths here. Relax the neck. And look up. Inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink down, take the arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs. Arms to sides. We're gonna add in some more hip stuff here. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step or jump back, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges. Warrior one on the inhale. We're going to put some more space between the legs to start opening up those hips more. So take the hands down to a block or the ground. Slide your left foot back so that you got more space between the legs and this right thigh is roughly parallel. Drag your feet toward each other. Pull toward the center of the mat. And then walk your hands over to the left corner. And then this can be great. I like to kind of play with this a little bit more. So I stick my butt out and then drag my feet together and then tack my outer right hip around and then firm up this inner left thigh a little bit more. So play with it. See if you can get this outer hip to feel like it's more part of the posture. All right, on this next part here, you're going to use your blocks. So grab your blocks and put them on either side, and then you're going to turn your left toes forward and start straightening up your front leg. It may not go totally straight, but you're just wanting to get into this outer hamstring here. There'll be some middle hamstring too, but since we just came from the outer hamstring, that's what you could probably feel the most. And just kind of fold over that right leg. So if you need to be up a little higher, that's okay. You can be up a little higher here. Just try to keep your spine nice and long. All right, now turn your toes out a little bit to the right. And then peel that right foot up off the mat so you're on the pinky edge of your right foot. And just see how that feels. You're going to feel a little bit more outer leg there. And again, you can always bend the knee. So if something's starting to kind of tug behind the knee, bend the knee a little bit. Keep flexing the toes back and make sure that you're really sort of karate chopping the ground with the outer edge of your right foot. All right, take the hands to the ground, step back, press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right heel pivots and plants, left foot lunges forward, take it into warrior one. All right, let's go a little deeper into warrior one. So you're gonna bring your hands to the ground, slide that right foot back a little bit. Try to get your left thigh parallel to the ground. Walk your hands over to this right corner. Flare your hips out if you'd like, and then tack that outer left hip back. Firm up your inner right thigh here. Breathe deeply. All right, walk it back to the center. This is where your blocks may come in handy. Turn your right toes forward, and then start straightening up that front leg. And again, it doesn't have to be totally straight. So keep pulling to the midline. Zip up your low belly. Breathe deeply, lengthen your spine. All right, now turn your left toes out to the left and try to peel your left foot up off the floor a little bit so you're on the pinky edge of your left foot. You can always bend that left knee a little bit. We're just trying to get down the outer left thigh again. And make sure you're not feeling tugging in the knee. If you have to bend the knee generously and kind of play with that a little bit, just to make sure that you're feeling in the big muscles, not in the joints, that is okay. Okay, and then take the hands down at the ground, step your left leg back, press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Walk it out a little bit. And look up. Inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Uttanasana, take the arms up and look up. Exhale, straighten the legs. Arms to the sides. All right, let's go for a twist on this one. Take the arms up on the inhale, sit back. Twist to your right, hook that left arm to the outside of the right leg. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can take that left hand down to the ground to the outside of your foot and extend your wings, your arms. Keep breathing. And unwind, take it up on the inhale. Exhale, sink back down, twist to your left. Tuck your right hip back. Same thing here. If you feel like you got a pretty deep posture, maybe extend your wings. And take it up, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges. Big inhale as you come up. And then open up for warrior two. All right, once you're in warrior two, drop your shoulders. Look straight down your middle right finger. So if your groin is a little tight, your knee's gonna roll in a little bit. So your first challenge is to make sure you can see your big toe when you look down. All right, you can lay your hands down on the ground. Before you go anywhere, walk your right foot off the mat, come to a variation of a side plank. So left hand, right foot on the ground, take your right arm toward the sky, and now take your right hand to the back of your head and add in a little bit of back bend. Push your head back into your right hand. Look at that shoulder. All right, take the right hand back to the ground and press forward for your chaturanga, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. Then open up for warrior two. And again, since we're starting to try to open up inner thigh as well as the back of the hip, this is most important right now. Make sure you can see your big toe when you look down. Drop your shoulders, look straight down your middle left finger. Nice. Okay, so pivot roll your hands down the ground. Let's go for that side plank, mainly just to open up the shoulder. So you're gonna come to the pinky edge of your right foot, walk that left foot over to about 9 o'clock. Claw the ground with your right fingers, and then take that left hand to the back of your head and push your head back into your left hand. And open up that left shoulder. All right, right, take a moment. Let's skip the down dog and come into child's pose and just take some weight off the hands for a moment. Big breathing. So this is an active child's pose. You're pressing forward into the mat so your hips come closer to your heels. All right, look up, inhale, find your downward dog. Step or jump forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Utkatasana, sink back, take the arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms to sides. Take the arms up again on the inhale, sit back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step or jump back. Press forward, lower. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. All right, right leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. And then from here, we're going to go into warrior two. Let's add some more shoulders into this one. So we're going to come into Parsvakonasana. Bring your right forearm to your right thigh. Take your left thumb and point it down. Bring the hand behind your back. And you're going to try to grab the inner right thigh or a piece of clothing on the right side. So you can get this left shoulder to roll onto your back. If you want to go a little deeper into the hips, you can bring your right hand down to a block or down to the ground, which may require that you slide some more space between your feet. And then remember to breathe. All right, and then pinwheel your hands down to the ground. Step that right leg back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale, and then open up for warrior two. All right, once you're here in warrior two, drop the shoulders, and make sure you're pulling your feet to the midline. Then bring that left forearm to the left thigh, turn the right thumb down, bring the hand behind your back, and see if you can grab a piece of clothing or your inner left thigh. And then same thing here, if you want to add in more in the hips, see if you can use a block, put your hand to the block to the inside of your foot, so my right leg, my right foot is sliding a little bit. Don't forget to breathe. Zip up your low belly. You guys getting sweaty yet? Take about 2 more big breaths. All right, and then pinwheel your hands down the ground. Again, let's skip the down dog and come into child's pose. This time, knees a little wider. All right, so we're going to come back into this sun salutation area, but I want to go into the yogi squat as well, help open up those inner thighs a little bit more. So walk your hands back, and then you're going to flip those toes over and come into yogi squat. If you are like me and you have really tight calf muscles and Achilles tendons, you may want a blanket underneath your heels. So I'll just go ahead and demonstrate that if you'd like a little extra stability. I was sort of trained, and my initial training was just the do it and suffer without props variation, but it's lovely how we can evolve and have props now. So make sure if you have a little bit of that trouble there, this will just help balance you, right? That way you're not so wiggly. And you're going to try to go pretty wide so that you can get your elbows to the insides of your legs. So do your best. And again, I realize that I'm making this really easy, and there are a lot of different things going on with people's hips and knees. Some people are up here. That's a squat for them, and that's okay. So you can also sit on a block if you want to be a little bit higher. So breathe deeply. Press out with your elbows, press in with your knees. So even if you're up high, you can still be pressing out with your elbows and in with your knees, and then you get that same engagement of your inner thighs. Take about 3 or 4 more big breaths. Okay, now walk it forward, find your downward dog. And look up. Inhale, step forward, big toes touching. Exhale, fold. Sink into Utkatasana, take the arms up and look up. Exhale, straighten the legs, arms to the sides. Okay, now we're gonna do a forward bend. So take your feet about hips distance apart. And then we're gonna grab our big toes or get as close as you can. So from this posture, take your hands to your hips first. Inhale, lift your heart. And then exhale, fold. Reach down, grab your big toes. So you're trying to go for a flat back here, and that's the real sticker here. So bend your knees as much as you need to get your back flat so that you're not rounding. Keep your chin up and your chest up. And then you're gonna pull up on your toes, and you're gonna press your toes down. If your elbows are bending, bend them out to the sides. So as you inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Elbows can be bent or knees can be bent. Exhale, fold. See if you can get your belly just a tiny bit closer to your thighs. And as you inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, relax. 3 more big breaths here. Last one. All right, we're gonna try to go a little bit deeper. So this time you're gonna place your hands underneath your feet as if, well, you are stepping on them, but see if you can get your toes to your wrists. And then if you're really tight, you're gonna bend your knees generously to get into this posture. So press down with your feet, lift up with your hands, and essentially pulling my arm bones into my shoulder sockets. And then inhale, lengthen, keep pressing down and lifting up. Exhale, relax. 4 more. Two more. All right, release the hands, take them to your hips, squeeze your elbows toward each other, bend the knees. Big inhale, come all the way up. Take the arms up on the inhale, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, step back. Press forward, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Right leg lunges. Take it up on the inhale. Open up for warrior 2. And then come into exalted warrior. So the trick with exalted warrior is to make sure this right knee stays bent and keep lifting your left thigh up toward your left hand. Now we want to get a little bit more side stretch here from the right hip to the right rib cage. So you're going to slowly straighten up that right leg. All right, come on up, big inhale, and now we'll go for triangle. Reach to the right hand side, bring your right hand down to your leg somewhere. Take your left arm toward the sky and look over your left shoulder. And then you should have a little bit of a curve in your low back, so stick your tailbone out a little bit. And keep lengthening through your right side. All right, now lift your right arm up. And then if you want to make this a lot tougher, you can bring your arms next to your ears. So this is pretty good, press down through your back heel. But if you want to go a little tougher, arms up. All right, bring your hands to your hips, bend your front knee. Now we're going to come into half moon. So put your block in front of you, toe heel your left foot closer and closer to your right foot. Right block will be under the right shoulder, and then you find a half moon here. Once you're in your half moon, you can stay right here. This is great. You can also bend your knee and see if you can grab your left foot. And then we're going to go through the entire spectrum of the hip here to help open it up more. So left leg is going to extend. Spiral your left hip bone down. You can move your blocks over, like your blocks. So you're in warrior three, possibly with blocks, possibly without, your choice. And now, start twisting your torso to the right. As you do that, your left leg is either going to want to bend or it's going to want to drop, right? So pick one. Either try to get it straighter or try to keep it lifted. You can take your right thumb into your right hip crease and tack it back and roll your right shoulder onto your back and just slowly twist your torso to the right. If you feel it's appropriate and you want to go a little bit deeper, you can bend your left leg, grab your foot with your right hand, and go for more of a revolved variation. The thing is, even though I'm doing a pretty, what it seems like an advanced posture, as long as you're twisting and trying to keep that back leg up, you're going to get into the right hip. And that's what we're trying to do, is open it up and strengthen it. All right, so let it go. Step back. Take a child's pose. Just see how everything feels. Big breaths. Notice how much work you put into that. Rest for a moment. All right, let's do the other side. Spread the fingers out. Find your downward dog. Lunge your left leg forward. Come into warrior one, big inhale. Open up for warrior two. And then we're going to go for exalted warrior. Turn the palm of the left hand toward the sky. Open up. Lift that back leg up against your right hand. All right, now slowly start straightening up that front leg so it's more of a triangle with the legs. You should be feeling a little bit more stretch from the left hip to the left rib cage. All right, come on up and let's go for a real triangle, or the original. Reach through the left-hand side, bring that left hand down to the ground, or your shin or your thigh. Take that right arm toward the sky. Keep breathing. Lengthen through your left side. Stick your tailbone out a little bit. Make sure there's a little bit of a curve in your low back. All right, now lift that bottom arm up. And if you want to make it a little bit tougher, arms closer to your ears. Push down through your back heel. Nice. All right, now half moon. Come into that left leg, find your block. Toe heel that right foot closer to your left foot. Line the block up with your pinky toe. Stand on the left leg. This can always be done against a wall. All right, if you feel it's appropriate and it's working for you, grab your right foot. All right, let's square up the hips, slowly spiral that right hip down. If you want to use blocks for a little stability, go for it. If you don't, you can always take your hands into your heart center or go for the full-blown warrior three. All right, we're going for the twist now. So block will come out of your right shoulder, left thumb to the left hip crease. Lengthen your spine so you can lengthen or lift your right leg. Gently twist. And if you feel like it's appropriate, bend your knees so you can grab your foot. It gets into that left hip a little bit more, so it's a bigger stretch. But you may not need a bigger stretch. All right, and then child's pose again. So take a moment, step back, take a child's pose, breathe, see what's changed. Big, deep breaths, big, deep exhales. All right, let's get one more for the hamstrings, and then we'll see if we can do our bird of paradise. So find a downward dog. Step or jump forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, arms to sides. All right, so take a big step back. You're gonna go for Pratyasthana Padottanasana. So your outer edge of your feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. Legs are about pretty wide. Wrists should be roughly over your ankles. And then you're gonna interlace your fingers behind your back. Drop down with that fist. Lift your heart on the inhale, and then exhale, forward bend. So the trick here, there's plenty of hamstring, plenty of leg stretch happening, but what you want to do is make sure your chin is up, your shoulder blades are drawing together and towards your hips, and then maybe lift your arms up a bit, but keep lifting your chin. All right, bend the knees. Inhale, come on up. All right, go for the non-dominant grip, so shake out your arms a little bit. And let's go for the other side. Interlace your fingers again. Put the other thumb and first finger on top. Lift your chin, big inhale, and then exhale, forward bend again. And bend your knees, inhale, come on up. Nice work, shake it out again. Okay, one more time. Lift your heart on the inhale, exhale, forward bend. Reach down, grab your big toes with your first two fingers. If you're a little tighter than that, you're gonna come up higher on the legs, or you can bend your knees. Squeeze into the midline. Make sure you got weight in your inner heels as well as outer heels. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tug on your toes or on your shins and gently pull yourself a little bit more forward. So the goal is to use your hands to kind of pull so that you can lengthen your spine and find a little bit more hinge in the hips. Keep rooting those legs down so you can lift the hips out of them. All right, bend the knees, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, come on up and turn your toes out. Okay, so now goddess squat, temple squat. Sink down, try to help the inner thighs open up a little bit. So I like to take my quadricep muscles here and wrap them backward. See if you can wrap those thighs back and then tighten up your buttocks a little bit. And then if you move a little bit in this posture, that'll give those inner thighs a moment to just figure out what they can do. Keep tightening up the buttocks. All right, and then come on up. Okay, let's try this. So, very good chance that you're gonna need a strap. What we'll do is turn your right toes toward the short end of your mat. You're gonna put the strap in your left hand, come into warrior two, and then bring your right forearm to your right thigh. Then you're gonna turn your thumb down, bring the hand behind your back, try to get, and I'm gonna show this from the other side because this actually matters a lot. You maybe tighten the shoulder, but if your hand is over here by the left hip, then you're gonna end up grabbing underneath, like directly below the groin, which doesn't help with the strap. So you wanna try to get your left hand by your right hip so that your strap will be under your right leg and not under your groin. Then take the right arm underneath, swing your hips out, grab the strap, or if you've got the flexibility, grab your hands,
But notice you don't want the strap way over here. You want the strap by the right thigh, under the right thigh. And then from here is where you're going to step your left foot up. So you can take a couple little steps here, get that left foot underneath you, and then get your weight into your left foot, and then slowly see if you can stand up. That's just the first stage, is trying to stand up. So this is where you're struggling. Keep working on this one, just trying to stand up. Then the next part is, usually we stand up, but your chest is like collapsing forward. So the next stage is to try to get your chest up and try to stand up really straight, not just through the leg, but through the heart and the spine. And then the last bit's just candy. So if you happen to be able to get your leg straight, your torso straight, your right shoulder onto your back, then you can start trying to work on the hamstrings of your right leg and try to get your right leg to straighten. That's the full-blown posture. Don't worry about that last bit if you're super tight in the hamstrings. Just try to get up really tall. All right, beautiful. Let's go for the other side. So come to the other leg, left foot. Your strap will go on your right hand if you think you need a little extra help. Take that left forearm to the left thigh. Right thumb's gonna point down. Bring the hand behind you. Again, strap needs to be over on the left side, not directly under the groin. So try to get that right hand closer to your left side. Swing your hips out. Take your left arm underneath and grab your strap or grab your fingers, whatever you can grab is fine. Bring your torso back in line and then walk that right foot in. Once you've got it underneath you, transfer weight to that right foot. And then stage one is just trying to get up. See if you can stand on that right leg. So work on that. That is very difficult, but do your best. If you're here, lift your heart. That's stage two, getting your spine open. Get that left shoulder on your back, and then eventually that left leg will go straight, but don't feel like that you have to go there, right? Because it's big. It's a hamstring thing. Let's take like 2 more big breaths. Last big. Oh, not today. Do a little circle. All right, come on out of it. Nice work. Okay, let's come to the ground. Take the arms up on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, back to child's pose. Two more big breaths. All right, we're gonna do another one for the core. So one of the requests was to work some of that core back toward the one-legged crow, flying crow. So today, what we're gonna do is work that belly area, and we're gonna do this on our forearms so that we don't fatigue the wrists. So you can come into a plank first. You have a couple options. You can make your plank arms fit parallel to each other, or you can clasp your hands together. So pick one of those, take your legs back, come to those forearms, and then breathe deeply. Press your heels back as if you're pressing into a wall, and reach your collarbones forward as well. So breathe. About 20 breaths. So we're actually about 4 breaths in already. So these are the muscles here that you have to use for flying crow. It's basically a plank, but with a leg up in the air, right? And you can play with that a little bit by lifting a left leg up and breathing. Lifting your right leg up and breathing. All right, drop the knees, walk it back, do another child's pose. So if you are so inclined, and we're going to keep working on different things, but if you're so inclined to just like, I'm a little type A, and when I want to get a posture under control and see if I can conquer it, I will keep working on it. So not in yoga class, but just throwing stuff in there. So this is what you do. You just do lots of planks, essentially. It's a plank. So let's do one more. Let's do one more plank, and then we'll move into the hips a little bit more. So interlace the fingers or parallel arms. Walk the legs back. Reach your heart forward. Widen your shoulders out to the sides. 20 breaths. And you get bored, you can always take your legs wider, like a wider plank, feet out to the edges of your mat. You can still do a leg lift here. And you're like, oh, there's that back. There's the back and butt muscle. All right, drop the knees, walk it back. Take some nice deep breaths. I'm not sure that was 20 breaths. I lost count. Keep breathing. All right, let's get into pigeon. So pigeon on your back or pigeon on your front, your choice. Start with your right leg. So if you're in a pigeon, you want your knee slightly wider than your shoulders. If your hand comes straight down, my knee is to the outside here. And then make sure you've got some nice straightness to your ankles, whether you're pointing or flexing or something in between. Just make sure those ankles feel pretty straight so you're not tugging on the outside of your knee. Zip up your belly, breathe. Tighten up your left thigh a little bit or resist a little bit with the left leg. If you're on your front, I like the variation where you can put your block under your forehead. Get a little massage of the pituitary gland. All right, so if you're on your front side, let's get a little bit more into this hip. You're going to start walking yourself up. Wherever you end up is fine. It doesn't have to be fully blown. So you can come all the way up, great. Then it creates a little bit more of a back bend. If you're a little bit down here because of your hip, that's fine as well. Breathe deeply. We're just trying to get into this outer hip a little bit more. If you're on your back, then you're going to lift your hips up. So if you're crossing your right ankle just below or the left knee, then you're going to grab your mat and lift your hips and get your shoulders underneath you. That right knee might drop a little bit. All right, go ahead and release. Do a down dog or a happy baby dead bug. And go for the left leg. So left leg crosses over. And again, you can be on your back or your front. Either one's great. And again, just make sure this ankle's nice and straight. There's been a little bit of controversy about ankles lately in terms of people going, well, why do you need to flex them? And so keep breathing, but I'll just explain the physiology of it. So when your hip is tight, and this is why the controversy is there. For the people who have open hips, they're like, we don't get it. But if you have a hip that's really tight, what happens is at some point your hips like can't do it anymore, and then it basically recruits the knee to roll in. And the way it does that is by the ankle curling. So then you get this big overstretch happening on your ACL, which is the outside of your knee. So if you pull that pinky toe back, or even do kind of a flex or a floint, like part flexed, part pointed, as long as your ankle's nice and straight, you're not going to overstretch the outer knee here. And it's really just nerves. I mean, the ACL can deal with some overstretch a little bit, but not a lot, right? And so what we're trying to do is keep that area where the nerves run down the outside of the left knee and the ACL, we're trying to keep them just a little bit more under control. They can do it. I mean, your knee, even though it's a forward-backward joint, tends to kind of go sideways a little bit as well. It's possible. You just don't want to overdo it. And people with tight hips tend to overdo it. So breathe deeply. You're about to come into a little bit more of a back bendy variation of this posture. We'll give it about 3 more big breaths. Okay, zip up that low belly, start walking it up. If you're on your back, you're going to lift your hips. Breathe deeply, keep zipping up your low belly. Keep resisting with your right thigh. If you're pretty well balanced, you can bring your hands behind your head and go for a little bit more of a back bend. Keep pulling your front ribs in. All right, and then a down dog or a happy baby. Take a moment and just get the pelvis back into alignment. Okay, this next one is going to be a double pigeon. So we'll do double pigeon, then we'll do Bridget's cross. So you're going to take your left leg under, right leg over. If you have funky knees, you may need to make a couple of variations of the posture. So, or just tight hips. So you can put your right foot on the block in front of your left leg. If you have a left leg that doesn't even bend that well, you can go for an extension of the left leg. So they all work. We're just trying to get into the hips here. And then if you happen to be in a kind of a more fully fleshed out version of this posture like I am, where your shins are parallel, make sure that your feet are actually free of your knees. So I'm actually going ankle to the knee, ankle to knee. My feet are free here. So my thighs are almost parallel. And then bring your hands to the bottoms of your feet. Press your balls of your feet out and your hands in. And that goes back to the knees again, trying to make sure we've got even stretch on both sides of the knees. But it does translate into your hips eventually. So keep breathing here. And maybe a bit of a forward bend. So the forward bend is really just up to your hips. For, I guess, I would say easily 50% of the population, sitting up tall is a forward bend. There's plenty happening in the hips, and hinging farther forward is not an option. So keep that in mind. Some people are a little bit more flexible, but sitting up tall and not collapsing into your back is a great way to just work. If you are one of those people who has super tight hips and super tight back, and you feel like you kind of collapse right here, sitting up against a wall is a great idea so that you've got a wall to help support you. You can also take a block behind you and push into the block to keep yourself nice and tall. So this is a legitimate forward bend here. A lot of people have super tight outer hips. There's a little bit of groin stretch too. All right, so take about 5 more big breaths here. All right, come on out of it. Now we're going to go for the cow face version of this. And what we're trying to do is just get into those hips a little bit more, get into the IT band a little bit more. So try to close the gap between your thighs so that your knees are roughly stacked over each other. And then we're going to take your left arm out to the side and take your right arm over and stretch over to your left and maybe drop that left elbow to the ground. So your right hip will pop up off the ground a little bit. Then you're going to look up at your right hand. So we're trying to get this nice stretch through here because when we try for Ashtanga, which is a crazy looking arm balance, this is part of what you need to have stretched out is your oblique abdominals. You also need that outer hip to open up a little bit more. All right, come on up. Let's go for the other side. Right hand to the block or to the ground. Left arm over. See if you can drop your elbow to the ground. Don't get too worried about not being able to drop your elbow to the ground. Keep breathing. All right, come on up and let's go for double pigeon on the other side. So right leg under, left leg over. Find the double pigeon that works for you. So you may end up having your foot in front or your knee might be popping up. It's okay. And then press out with the balls of your feet, press in with your hands. And again, forward bend may be simply trying to sit up super tall, maybe against a wall or using your block behind you. That may be what you're doing. And if you can go for a forward bend where you hinge at the hips, that's okay too. So breathe deeply, figure out where you need to be. All right, come on up, slide your thighs closer together, try to close the gap, get your left knee roughly stacked over your right knee. Let's go to the left side first. So left hand to the ground, maybe the left elbow drops down, take your right arm over. Look up towards your right hand. All right, come on up, go for the other side. Maybe drop that right elbow, look up into your left hand. And come on up. Okay, so next one, Bridget's cross. Basically, your leg is gonna go across like that. So what we're gonna do is inch into it, and I'll demonstrate from a couple of angles, but you're basically gonna take your right thigh parallel to the front of your mat. So I'll show you this way, so right thigh is parallel, and then we're gonna extend back. So you need to be able to see my back leg. So when I go right leg parallel to the front of my mat, take my hands wide, and then I'm going to flip my back toes over so that the pads of my toes are on the ground. I'm going to push with this back leg. This back leg is the driver here. So take my hands wide, push with my back leg. I'm just going to start rolling onto the top of my right thigh here. And I keep pushing and rolling onto the top of the thigh. So you're going to get to the top of the thigh, top of the hip. And then at some point, you're going to feel like you can't roll anymore. And then you're going to zip up your belly and then do a tiny little push-up and see if you can get your chest a little closer to the ground. Eventually, this may not be today, but eventually you're going to put your chest on the ground and your left cheek on the ground. You can also use a block if you don't want to come all the way to the ground. You can put your left cheek on the block. But this back foot is constantly pushing. It may not be pushing super hard, but it's constantly pushing forward. You're trying to stay on the very top of your right hip and right thigh. And what you're going to feel is a whole lot of stretch happening through your oblique abdominals, and you might feel some outer right hip.
All right, let's go for the other side. So come out of this posture, and you're going to take your left leg across, roughly parallel to the front of your mat. And then you're going to slowly twist here and get the pads of your right toes onto the ground, so your knee is pointing toward the ground eventually. Arms wide, shoulders wide. So lengthen your spine forward, start pushing with your right foot so you're starting to roll onto your top of your left hip. Keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. Keep rolling, lift your left belly, and drop your right belly, and then eventually you're gonna do a little bit of a push-up so you can get your chest to the ground or your head to a block. My right foot is still pushing. It's not pushing a lot, but it's still pushing slightly forward here. All right, coming out of this one. So that's part of a twist, is that you realize, oh, my rib cage is connected to my hips. So let's do one more twist, and then we'll try for Ashtavakrasana. Okay, so left foot comes in. You are familiar, many of you are with this posture. Left foot comes in. Right foot will come to the inside or the outside of that left knee. We're going to do one more twist here. Take that block behind you. Grab your right leg with your left hand, sit up tall, and twist and look over your right shoulder. If it feels appropriate, you can take your left elbow to the outside of your right leg and propel yourself a little bit further around. Okay, let's go for the other side. So switch, right foot under, left foot comes to the inside or the outside of that right knee, depending on your flexibility. Put that block behind you to help support your spine and get a little taller. Hug, lift, twist from the tailbone all the way up and look over your left shoulder. Maybe take that right elbow and press so you can get your tiny bit deeper twist here. Big breathing. All right, and then come out of this one. All right, let's try Ashtavakrasana. So Ashtavakrasana, it's crazy. So basically, your legs go off to the sides. So we've worked a little bit on those muscles. So you're gonna take your left leg and place it on your left arm. So it's just kind of hanging there on my left elbow. And then you're gonna take your right hand to the ground and see if you can take your right foot and cross it over your left foot. So that's just to check and see, can I actually do it? So there's a little bit of core working here. You got that right ankle crossed over the left ankle, hanging out here, trying to keep your chest lifted and your spine long. So I'll show from a slightly different angle here. Try not to collapse back here. You want to keep lifting your chest, right? Open up the heart, lengthen the spine. Okay, let's try for the other side. So right elbow under the right leg. You may notice one side's a little bit easier than the other. So you can get that left ankle to cross on top. So eventually you're going to straighten the legs, but right now we're just trying to figure out if we can cross, right? Big breathing. So these are two great places to just try. And if you're doing pretty well with these, the next step is usually pretty available. Big breathing. Okay, so the next part is shoulders. And this is, so you're going to be rounding forward, but then you're going to try to lift your chest out of it. So just keep that in mind, as though you start kind of rounded, and then you're going to try to lengthen through your spine and your heart. So from here, your left leg comes back over. Then you're going to grab onto your left foot with your right hand and pull in. Your inner thigh should be pulling into, but it does help to just have your right hand there. Then you're going to turn the palm of your hand down and lean forward. So I'm making a shelf there. My left leg is just kind of resting on the back of my left arm. And then I put my right hand there. Now this is where you have to use a little bit of inner thigh and groin to see if you can get that right foot on top of the left foot. All right, now you're going to push into your hands and see if you can get your butt off the ground. Just push. Can I lift my butt? So that's the next stage for a lot of people, is can you actually just get up off the ground?
If you can, then you're going to keep that left elbow bent, because when you're pushing up, you notice your left arm kind of starts straightening a little bit. So you got to lift your butt off the ground without straightening your left arm too much. So left leg is there, it's resting. You don't want to straighten that arm too much. Right ankle crosses over, keep that left arm bent, and then you're going to lift your butt, but now you're going to stick your butt back behind you and reach your heart forward. And then your legs are going to go super straight and squeeze your arm. And I'll try from a different angle so you can look at it that way. So shelf, right foot on top, keep that left arm bent, keep it bent, squeeze your legs together, stick your butt out, reach your heart forward. All right, let's try for the other side. Right leg, right arm. All right, now grab your foot, turn your hand over, bring your hand to the ground. Right leg is now resting on the back of the right arm, but you're still pulling on right here for a moment, just kind of helping the inner thigh squeeze in. You're getting a big stretch through here. And then, all right, left foot comes on top of the right foot. That's the next stage. Okay, can I push into the ground with my hands and get my butt up? Yes? Oh, okay. Then reach your heart forward and reach your hips backward. So that's the next goal. Keep that right arm bent. Lengthen your spine. So butt off the ground, and then whoosh, squeeze your inner thighs together. And then butt back, heart forward. Breathe deeply. And again, I'll show from a slightly different angle. Don't forget to breathe. Right elbow bent. Left leg on top. Reach your heart forward, hips up, legs out, squeeze your arm. Even if you don't get into it, it's awesome. You're using all the right muscles. All right, gorgeous. Okay, let's relax for a second. Come onto your back. Hug your right knee into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Firmly press your right thigh into your right rib cage. All right, now extend that right leg. And you may need your strap. Bring that right leg toward you. That left leg, push it down toward the ground. All right, now lift your head and shoulders up and bow toward your right leg. Keep pressing your left heel and left thigh toward the ground. All right, head down. Take that right leg out to the side. Try to keep that left hip down. All right, and let's switch legs. Hug your left knee into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. Extend your right leg and press your right heel and right thigh down. All right, take that left leg up. Bring that left leg towards you. Keep pressing your right thigh toward the ground. And then take that left leg out to the side. Keep that right hip and right thigh down. All right, and then let that go. All right, so let's finish up with a restorative back bend. That way you can have a really nice deep back bend and get all those benefits, since we did a lot of, toward the end, we didn't do much back bending at all. So taking one block under your upper shoulders, and then one block under your head, and you can go higher if you want to, but you might want to start at medium. And then take your arms out to the sides, and just breathe deeply. And I would highly recommend staying here longer if you have the time. But if you need to get moving, take a moment and wiggle your fingers and toes, and maybe even go for a full body stretch. You can, if there's enough mat at the top of your mat, you can either grab the sides of the mat or the very top of the mat and push the mat away from you. Get those arm bones solid in the shoulder sockets. Take a couple deep stretches here. And then when you are ready to get up, again, you can stay right where you are. But if you need to get up, grab the mat on either side of your hips. Press into the ground with your elbows or forearms. Come to a comfortable seated posture. And then you can follow along mentally if you are still lying down. Bring your hands into your heart center. Take a moment to thank yourself for getting to your mat. The hardest part of the yoga practice is very often getting to the mat. And check in and see how you feel. And thank yourself for doing this for yourself. And then bring your hands up to your forehead for kind thoughts, down to your lips for kind words, and down to your heart center for kind intentions. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.